So in this video I'm just going to be talking about something else I need to include in my short film, the language register. And this is basically about who I'm addressing in my to my target audience, and who my target audience is, and how I'm going to basically supply them with the context and the content to my text that they are looking for. So basically I've looked at Little White Lies, Empire and Sight and Sound again, and I've focused on some keywords from these, and also given an overall sort of sentence on what I thought of just a random column from each magazine. So in Little White Lies, I found a little sentence that said, "Furrows of silent anguish," and this is sort of quite a complex, just literally about 4 words of a sentence, and this is just in the sentence itself. It's quite a complex sentence with very, very specific links to films that not the everyday viewer would have watched. So obviously this statement in itself is getting at the point that the magazine of Little White Lies is actually aimed at a very specific audience, which have a very large knowledge of film. Something else I just commented after looking at the Little White Lies columns and various reviews from it, I said that it's got a serious description with loopholes in the narrative, which entices the audience, and it's also very informative. This magazine, so obviously it's again, as I said before, it's for the not your average day reader, but in fact a film fanatic. So moving on to Empire, some words I've just picked out there is lush, compelling, teensy, and sentience. So these are slightly complex words, but not day-to-day text that you'd say as a 16-year-old boy to your friends, for example. However, they do hold fairly complex vocabulary. This film does. This magazine review does, sorry, and also I think that this is fairly informative. However, it's in more of a chatty manner. You're not as formal as the other one was, as Little White Lies was. So Sight and Sound again is a mix between the two. Some words I've taken from that are tricksy, climatic, and disturbing. So this is, as again I said, a mixture between the two, and it's obviously including fairly complex word. I haven't picked out the most complex words in the review itself. However, I feel that this is like quite a. It's more informative than say Empire. However, it's still for the fairly day-to-day reader. For example, in this sense, you might be addressing your target audience for Sight and Sound might be a film fanatic. However, not a very well read or say well watched in this context person who hasn't watched every film in the book, and also doesn't have as much of an eye for graphic design, because obviously Sight and Sound is laid out like your average magazine, and therefore that makes a big difference as well. So yeah, that's roughly the description of a language register I've made. And so in my short film review, my magazine review, I'm gonna have to think about who I'm addressing and therefore what language I'm gonna use. So yeah, thanks for watching.